Hello everyone and welcome to Monday Night Stamping. My name is Lillian Kemp and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator coming to you from Alberta, Canada. And I love to share paper crafting with you, and I'm so glad that we can get together every Monday night and do it. So I see different people hopping on, so thank you for hopping on, and maybe just share any craft you've been working on, or what, maybe even something that you did today. My husband and I had a plan for today, and then we got a phone call this morning that our granddaughter was sick. Both parents were working, so we were on sick grandchild duty today. So things didn't go quite according to plan, but we're really thankful that we were able to step in and help out there. So we had some great grandchild time, and she's doing much better. So hopefully be able to go back to school tomorrow. So share a little bit about what you've been working on or what you did today. And it is the first day of spring. And I always thought it was the 21st, but some have been saying today. So what kind of spring things are you looking forward to? So as you're filling that in and typing that in, I'm going to take you down to my desktop and we're going to get started. So here we go. Yes, Roz, she is feeling better. She saw the doctor and is on some medication, and so hopefully that all kicks in and all will be good. So she had been, a cold virus, and got over it, she thought, about 3 weeks ago, and then it came back with a vengeance. So all looks like good. Oh, somebody's been creating with the rhino ready and other new things. Well, that's you, Roz. Excellent. Oh, they're so cute and so much fun. And for those of you who are wondering what she's talking about, is some things from the new online exclusives. So take a look at that and you will be really pleased. And Roz, we love it when you share what you're doing too, so feel free to do that. Now, just a heads up, I am about to order the new 2023-2024 annual catalog. No, they're not going in the mail, but I am getting them ready to order. It takes a little bit of time before they're here. I can't wait to get my hands on them. But if you would like one and you live in Canada, I can only supply them to Canadians or people with a Canadian address, sorry. But if you live in Canada and would like one and do not have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would be glad to share one with you. So message me or go here and request yours. So it's bit.ly/ then new annual catalog with the Canadian spelling. So that's how you can request yours, but I need you to do it hopefully this week. Early next week, I'm going to be putting the order in, so I do need that to be taken care of. And speaking of being taken care of, last week we made this card, and then I shared different variations of it. We use these hexagons, and for everybody who leaves a comment or shares or whatever, your name goes into a draw for the card that we make. So whether you're on Facebook or you're on Facebook or YouTube, either way, your name gets put in. And Lynn Kershaw, if you message me with your mailing address, I'll pop this into the mail to you. And just that is that gorgeous new shimmer paper. So speaking of gorgeous paper, tonight I'm going to be featuring the dry brushed metallic paper. So now I know this is kind of hard on the eyes, but you can see that there's lots of shiny gold in this paper and some colors. The colors are Soft Succulent, Cajun Craze, and Petal Pink. Now let me just see if I can get this so you can, do you see how those colors go? I I was surprised that Cajun Craze was one of the coordinating colors, but it actually works really well. So we get these gorgeous papers, and how many of you have a hard time cutting into these gorgeous papers? I know that I do, and I've tried to be brave, and Marilyn and Joanne and I have often talked about we've just got to cut it and go into it and do it. And so that's what we're going to do tonight. And I'll share a little bit about my process, because the card that we're making tonight, what we ended up with was not the way I began. So we're using black cardstocks. I'm just going to put some white paper down right here. And the card base is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. So a regular card base. And while we've got it out, we might as well just fold it and burnish that fold with our bone folder. And there, we have our card base already. Then the other papers that we're going to use basic black, 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. Now I'm not going to talk about the next layer for a minute, because I want to show you where we're heading. All right, so this is going to go on here, which doesn't look too exciting just yet. And then I cut out some squares from the patterned paper, the dry brushed metallic. So last week I played with hexagons. This week I'm playing with squares. So we've got the squares, and we're going to bring in some gold. So let's just lay the pieces here. Now here is the question. Do you want petal pink as the in-between layer between the two black layers? These are the other colors that are going to be on here. Petal pink, or would you prefer to have Cajun Craze? Petal pink or Cajun Craze? So while you're writing that answer in, I'm going to share a little bit about how this card came to be. I had originally planned to put the squares together like this. So I used the Stylish Shapes dies, and I used the very smallest square, and I cut out the designer paper. Then I was going to layer it on the gold, and I was going to do that 3 times. I was going to, so you can tell I didn't do it. And I was going to just put them like this down here. Well, while I had everything out and I was playing around, I grabbed my gold piece that I was going to use, and my squares happened to fall on it. And I went, ooh, I think I'm going to save a step and make it even simpler and just put the gold as a whole strip instead of cutting out a whole bunch of squares. And instead of putting these on all like that, because when they fell, they kind of went like that, I decided to go this direction. So now I'm going to look up. The first word I saw was Cajun Craze. So I am going to use Cajun Craze. I think there's a little bit of everything going on here. So I had both cut just in case. So we've got Cajun Craze here. So we'll take this and move it here. And it is 3 3/4 by 5. So it is just a tiny smidge bigger. So it's just going to pop out. Now, if you don't like those little narrow edges, you can work on 1/4 inch increments. But we'll go this way. I'll move these out of the way so we have room. The other nice thing about using these little squares is that you can use your scraps of paper. Look at this. I think this was 1 1/4 by 6 inches, and I got 5 squares out of there. So really easy to use some scraps. So let's start to assemble here. Now, here is the card that I did in the soft succulent. So what I did is on the black, I stamped and embossed with gold, then I used an embossing folder right there and layered it. And so there is the soft succulent one. And it could be for a guy, for a girl, it could be for anybody. It's unisex, right? So tonight we're going to add one more step here, but it's a very minor step. So let's put these things to the side. And we're going to start with this. Move those, so make sure I've got the right pieces. Yes. And what we're going to do is our stamping first. And to make sure I'm leaving enough room for my stamping, I'm just going to pop the gold on there and just rest it. That way it'll help me keep my words in the right spot. I want them down in this area here. Now I'm going to use my embossing buddy. And yes, it leaves a white film on black, but you just wipe it off afterwards. It's better than having gold specks where you don't want them. So now I'm going to bring in for a special person on a special day, and this is from the Framed Florets, and it is actually a photopolymer or clear stamp, so it needs a little extra cushion. So let's put some foam under here, and we're going to bring in our Versamark ink. Look how white that is. It's a fairly new one. It looks just wonderful. You should see my old one. It's doesn't look quite as nice. So let's put this down here. Press where your stamp is. Remember, not the edges of your block, but press where your stamp is and let that transfer. And now you can see that it's there, but you'll be able to see it even better once I put the embossing powder on. So I'm going to bring the embossing powder in. I keep mine in a container just because I have room. But I always put the lid back on because I've been known to spill it. So let's bring in our heat tool. Heat that up, and that powder is going to melt and become all shiny and embossed. It's going to be raised, so it's something that's fun to touch. This is always magical, no matter how many times you've done it or if it's your first time. There we go, we've got it just like that. And I'm going to bring in a tissue, make sure and just wipe that excess off. Now, on this card here, this is where I did the dry embossing with the embossing folder. This time, I got rid of that, I'll bring it back. We're going to put the gold on first. And I'll show you another sample afterwards at the end. It was one of those cases where, am I brave enough to try it or not? Do you ever find yourself feeling that way when you're crafting? Sometimes I get an idea and I think, I don't know, what if it doesn't work out? And then I thought, well, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, but at least I'll know if it works or not. So now we've got that fastened there. We're going to bring in our embossing folder, which I had in my hot little hand. And now I don't know what, oh, here it is. Put it right here so it'd be handy. This is one of the new Basics 3D embossing folders. Comes in a set of 3. Right now they are not orderable, but they're going to come back in stock shortly. They have just been a runaway hit. So just be on the lookout for them. You are going to want them. All 3 of them are fabulous, and I showed you a whole bunch with them last week. So we're going to put it in here, and these embossing folders have the line. So if it's important to you to line it up, you can use that line to line your edge of your cardstock up. Some are more important than others. If it's a random design, you don't need to worry too much about it. Then we're going to put our specialty plate, and I kind of forgot about plate number 1. Here we go. So plate number 1 and this, and we're going to run it through, and then you can decide if you like the gold embossed or not. So Oh, I see lots of positive things about the soft succulent card. Oh, thank you. I've just been on a geometric kick lately. Hexagons, squares, you name it, right? But I love how it showcases the paper. So now you can see this is where the gold was not part of the dry embossing, and this is where it was. So there we are, just like that. And you chose Cajun Craze, so we're going to start to fasten this together. And you're seeing how quickly and easily this is coming together. So we'll put it on here, just like that. And then we're going to put it on the black. And we could, what I did here is I put it on dimensionals. And I think I'm going to do that again because this is such a quick and simple card. It's nice to have a little bit more, little height, a little more interest that way. It's a very simple way of adding interest to a card. And I'm using my black dimensionals partly because they were just handy. But if you're ever looking at the black dimensionals, remember the one package has both sizes. And I just think that's a great thing to have both sizes of dimensionals. So it's a quick and easy way to get them both. So we've got this on here. And I'm just resting it till I see if I've got it pretty straight. I think so. Now we are going to bring in our little squares. And I don't know why, I kind of like to start with the one with more color at the top and just work my way down. And I'm overlapping them just, as you can see here, just a little bit. And the gold is cut so that the points of the square actually just straight goes side to side. And you can decide if you want to put them higher, lower, whatever. It doesn't really matter. But now that we've got the idea, I'm going to leave those there and bring in my silicone mat in case I go off. Now, when I'm working with foil, I really do like to use seal and not liquid glue. You know I love my liquid glue, but if I get liquid glue on foil, it just leaves a smudge that won't go away. So for me, it works better to use my seal on foil. But that, again, is just a personal preference. So there we go. We've got two. Look at how quick and easy. And this card can look so elegant. There we go. And, whoops. Now I'm noticing my words are a little slanted. What I could do if that bothered me is I could stamp them again on some paper and punch them out or whatever and put over top. But I'm going to just put embellishments around and create the illusion that it's not as bad as it kind of looks. Now, on this card here, I used what would have been really nice was the In Color Opal rounds because they're soft succulent, but I was out of them at the time when I made that card. And I used the Festive Pearls because these were carried over from the Holiday Mini. And so you've got pearls in gold and silver, soft succulent, and I think it's cherry cobbler. Yeah, cherry cobbler. It's a good thing I write notes to myself. So we could bring in the gold here, the gold from the Festive Pearls. They would look nice. We could also bring in the brushed metallic, and these actually kind of look okay with the Cajun Craze. So here is your choice while I'm puttering around on the inside. Do you want the Festive Pearls, the gold pearls, or the copper adhesive back dots? So copper or gold, either one. You tell me which you would prefer, and I will move on to the inside and come back and embellish the outside in a minute. I see gold pearls right off the bat. So we will do that Actually, now that I saw it, why don't I just do it? You guys are quick with your fingers. I love it. All right, so we've got the gold pearls, and I'll put one down here, and I'll put a couple, scatter them up here, just like that. It's amazing what a difference a few embellishments make, isn't it? So there we have it. Now for the inside, we are going to bring in some paper. So I have a piece of Cajun Craze cut the same size as this one here. And then the basic white is 1/8 of an inch smaller, so it's the same size as the basic black. And we're going to put those two together. But what if I don't have a stamp that I want to put on the inside? What can I do? So what you can do is you can take another square and cut it with your paper trimmer, and this is left over from another card, so I'm just going to use that, and decorate the inside with another piece of your designer paper. So let's do that. And again, I'm just going to use my seal. There we go. And you know, you have to decide where you want to put it, but I'll just go with whatever here and put it here. Line it up with the edge so it looks like that, and bring in my adhesive now. Build my layers. And again, I did a narrow layer, but my white was small enough that if I wanted, I could certainly have made everything a little bit bigger. And we'll put this here, and just like that, our elegance carries through to the inside of the card. So there it is there, just like that. Isn't that pretty? And here it is in the soft succulent. Now, this design doesn't just have to work in the portrait mode. Here, I made it in the landscape mode, and it works perfectly in that direction too. So now, here's the question. What other designer papers could you use? So you obviously don't have to use just black or white as your base. You can use whatever. You don't have to use gold as your strip down here. You can substitute whatever, but what other designer papers could you use? So let me just put that to the side. I was thinking a little bit, and I thought, By the Bay, if you had some scraps of some of these, wouldn't they look gorgeous like that? And you could even use the gold, but you could use different shades of greens or blues as well on your card. Another one is the one I was sharing with you last week. Now I've forgotten the name of it again. Something Wild. So this paper would look fabulous like that. Or even this side. So you could use any designer paper you have, and you could use this design and create a card of your choice. So now here's your question. Here's another question for you. Do you like it with the embossed gold or the plain gold behind the squares? Embossed or plain? And I've got a few samples to share, other samples to share with you. So let's see what you say. And while you're writing that in, here's some samples to share with you. Here's another one made with that fine shimmer paper, and just an embossing folder. So just like that. This one, that's one that I made. This one I received from Karen Yeomans. And look at, she's used the same fine shimmer paper to create the frame here. And look at the gorgeous coloring. Oh, love it. I was playing around with the Irresistible Blooms, and I was playing with white on white. So I'm obsessed with the die that makes this design here. And then of course these little dots fit the these, so then I did that. So there's a very simple white card with just a few splashes of color. This one I received from one of my downline in a downline swap, and it's just so much fun because look at this one has a little bookmark, so it you can put that on the tab of a book, and so it goes like that. It's framed, and then it's like that, or you can, so this card has lots of room to write. Here's another one from that was from Lynn. This one is from my downline Carolyn. So it's another fancy fold, and it goes this way like that, and it opens up, da, da, da. Oops, there's all the ingredients. So there's another fun card. Here's one from a brand new downline that signed up during celebration, smart lady, and just makes you feel like you're at the ocean, doesn't it? I just love that. And then this is on the inside. So, and then another one of my downline used this, and I haven't seen a lot done with this bundle, and she was very painstakingly, she said, well, you could stamp it right on the background, but she die cut it, so there's lots of dimension on this card, and it is absolutely lovely too. This is Nadine. This was Laura. This is Nadine. So those are some of the cards that have been coming in my Happy Mail lately. Remember, if you want the new catalog, well, let me bring that back in. Be sure to sign up this week because I will be placing that order. And if you make these cards, I would love to see you share them. So share them in the comments below here, or I'm going to post them again tomorrow morning, and you can share them then as well. So thank you so much for joining me tonight. Remember, if you don't have a demonstrator and want to purchase any of these supplies, I would be glad to help you out, or if you have a question. And if you're on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button. I would love that as well. Thank you so much, everybody, and take care. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.